Jai Shri Gurudev. Today we are going to discuss about the chapter 9 in the second PUC English language subject. Okay, in that the chapter name is I believe that books will never disappear. Let me read once again for you. I believe that books will never disappear. Books will never disappear. The statement of the poet itself becomes the title of the chapter here. It is very interesting. Okay. Here we are going to learn about the poet George Louis Borges. Okay. So it is something like a biography. It is a different kind of literature. We can understand that. There are various kinds of literature in English language. Okay, drama, poetry, novel, essay, report, interview. These are all the different kinds of literature you will be getting. Okay, so this is one form of it. It is an interview conducted by Robert Olifano. He is going to interview George Louis Borges, and he is going to introduce us, the poet, to know about him. So what is he? What are the views? All those things will be known to us. Little bit of his biography, little bit of his understanding. What are his thoughts, views, opinions about different things will be introduced to us in this lesson. Okay. Uh, Now let us go to discuss in detail the questions and the answers given by the author at different on different questions for different questions. Let us understand some of the basic facts about the poet George Louis Borges. He was born on 24th August 1899 and he lived up to 14th June 1986. He was born in a place called Buenos Aires, that is the capital city of Argentina. Now, it is very clear that he is an Argentinian writer. He was an Argentinian writer. He was a short story writer, poet, essayist, translator, so many things. Okay. Uh, this lesson, the chapter 9, what you are going to study, it is a new genre of writing. It is nothing but an interview. There are various kinds of literature. You know that drama, poetry, novel, short story, essays, reports, so many things are there. This is a new kind of literature that is nothing but an interview. Now we are going to understand about the first question which is asked by Roberto Olifano to George Louis Borges. The first question is, what was your first literary reading, Borges? He is asking that what was his first literary reading? What is the book, which is the book he has read for the first time? For that, George Louis Borges says, I believe my first reading was Grimm's Fairy Tales in an English version. Grimm's Fairy Tales. Fairy tales are fascinating stories. They take us to the world which is not possible to imagine by us. Something imaginative, something fascinating. They take us to the different world. They are not going to be surrounded by our living world. Such stories they are. They are written by Grimm's brothers. Grimm's brothers in the sense Wilhelm Grimm and Jacob Grimm. These were the brothers and they have written the fairy tales in German language. Originally it is available in German language. The same book the poet has read in English version. He also says that I was educated by my father's library perhaps more than by high school or the university. He is saying that he has been educated by his father's library. His father has had built a huge library in his house only. It contained huge number of volumes, books it contained. From by reading those books, he could get educated. He could get educated more than by a high school or the university. He went to the school, he went to the university, although he had been more educated by his father's library only than a high school or the university. This is a very important thing from the point of studying this author. We can also understand that he read the Grimm's fairy tales that was in his father's library only. So these are the important things that we have to remember to know his personality, to know his biography, and to know him as a poet, to know him as a philosopher in various ways. We have to understand for all that the base is his education from his father's library only. Okay. Okay, now let us discuss about the second conversation between Alifano and Borges. Can we talk about Donna Leonor, your mother? This is the question asked by Alifano to Borges. He wants to know about Donna Leonor. Donna means madam. Leonor is her name. Her full name is Leonor Acevedo Suarez. Okay, this is a Spanish name. She is from Uruguayan origin. Okay. Uh, uh, Next, she influences him on lots of things. Her family had involved in Argentina War of Independence. She spoke about their heroic actions uh, in the War of Independence. How did they involve, and how they were very courageous, and how did they show their heroism in the war. So all those things she spoke to Borges that influenced him a lot in getting educated in different aspects of life. Okay, now let us move on to the answer which is given by Borges to Alifano. My mother was an extraordinary person. I should speak above all of her kindness toward me. I will tell you a secret of mine. I feel somewhat guilty for not having been a happy man in order to have given her a deserved happiness. I feel guilty. Perhaps I should have been more understanding of her, but I don't know. I suppose that it is true of all children that when our mother dies, we feel that we have taken for granted, as we do with the moon or the sun or the seasons. We feel we have abused her. Before her death, it doesn't dawn on us. My mother was an intelligent and gracious woman who I believe had no enemies. This is what she spoke about his mother. Okay, his mother was an extraordinary person. Uh, it is true in all the cases. Every person, every son, they always feel that their mother uh, would be an extraordinary person. Okay, the same is the case with Borges also. I should speak above all. So anything, if he wants to speak on any other subject, he can speak greater than the other subjects which he can speak, on which he can speak. He should speak above all of them about his own mother. His mother is the greatest of all. That is the kind of feeling he has towards his mother. And he mentions a very important thing, that is her kindness toward him. She was very kind to him. She was a gracious woman. She was very kind to him. That is very important in this regard. Every mother, of course, will show kindness to their children, but here uh, the poet also feels the same thing. It is the kindness of his mother toward him that made him to feel extraordinary about her. She is extraordinary about she is an extraordinary person according to him. I will tell you a secret of mine. I feel somewhat guilty for not having been a happy man in order to have given her a deserved happiness. He failed in returning that kindness to his mother. Always she showed lots of kindness, but he was also not up to the kindness uh, she gave him. He did not make her happy. He did not give her happiness to make her comfortable in the life. That is the guilty consciousness that is always haunting Boris in his life. Uh, just for the sake he had not given the deserved happiness she deserved, um, he felt very sorry about it. He was always feeling that, but it is already over. The time has gone. He if he wanted to give her the happiness, only when she was alive he could express it, and he could make her happy for having given the deserved happiness. But she is no more with him at that time. If he has felt that, uh, that cannot reach his mother. That is the problem. That's why he says that he was always guilty about it. But I don't know, I suppose that it is true of all children that when our mother dies, we feel that we have taken her for granted, as we do with the moon or the sun or the seasons. We feel we have abused her. Before her death, it doesn't dawn on us. It is the case. It is the same case with all the children. All the children do not be uh, considerate, or they do not have regards to their mother. They feel they are taking it for granted. They take it for granted. Whatever the kindness, love, passion the mother gives to the children, that will be taken for granted by the children. Only after her death they feel that, but it is not going to make any advantage or benefit to anybody. Only when she is alive they behave properly. That is better. But after her death only people will recall that. People will regret. That is not going to be helpful at all. They behave just like how we all behave towards the moon, sun, or the seasons. Moon, sun, seasons, these things give us everything that is supposed to be for our living on the earth. Sun is going to give us the light. Seasons give us all the food and other things which are essential for us for our living on the planet. But we don't care about that. We will be pretending, we will be showing the attitude just like it is not our duty, obligation, or we don't care about that. Such a kind of attitude the people will show towards the nature. That is wrong. Only when the nature stops giving us the required things, we feel that why it is happening. Today we know that due to pollution, we are seeing lots of disturbances in the environment. We are not getting the proper rainfall in the uh, right season. In different seasons we get rainfall, but and also we are facing the situations like a flood calamity, um, that kind of things. So that is making us to face lots of difficulties in the various seasons in our life. But if we behave properly towards the nature, that is good. But now if we are regretting about it, regretting about our actions, it is a it is a costly one that we have to bear with that. So something similar to that, Boris also feels about his mother. He did not understand, realize about her kindness in his life, but only when she was dead he could understand that that is no more useful now, because she is not there, she is no more. That's why he says, my mother was an intelligent and gracious woman. Intelligent, she was well aware of the facts of how or the things. She was good in understanding everything, and also she was a gracious woman. She was bestowed with lots of things. Her faculties were very great. She was sympathetic to others. She was good to others. She had no enemies at all. That way, she lived her life. So, in all these respects, his mother was a greatest of all to him in his life. That is what the expression he has given about his mother. Okay. Okay. Now we are going to talk about what is his blindness. Alifano, the interviewer, is going to ask a question to Borges that is related to his blindness. Please forgive me, Borges, for asking you this. What is blindness to you? This is the question. For that, he is going to give a positive answer. Uh, why this question is so important for Borges? Because in 1955 he had already crossed his age 55. At that time he had become blind, and also he was appointed as the director of the National Public Library, and he was the professor of English literature at the University of Buenos Aires. Many people felt that only because he was blind he could create some innovative literary things in his work, literary symbols through imagination he could create. That's why it was positive for him, and he also made it very clear that blindness is not a lacking, it is not a shortfall, it is not a weakness, it is not a challenge, it is a resource. That is what he is going to mention in his answer. He says like this: well, now it is a way of life that is not entirely unhappy. A writer, and I believe generally all persons must think that whatever happens to him or her is a resource. All things have been given to us for a purpose, and an artist must feel this more intensely. All that happens to us, including humiliations, our misfortunes, our embarrassments, all is given to us as raw material, as clay, so that we may shape our art. What a fantastic answer is he has given here. He is saying that it is a way of life, it is not a shortfall, it is not a lacking. We should not think inferior about our lackings. He is saying that it is a way of life, a way of life that is not entirely unhappy, because he could create lots of things in his life in the literature field. It means through his symbols, through his imagination, he could give some innovative literature. That was possible only because he was blind in his life after he became 55. That's why he says that it is not entirely unhappy. He was happy about it because he could create lots of things in the literature through his imagination. A writer, and I believe generally all persons must think that whatever happens to him or her is a resource. He is saying that we should accept it as a resource. If we don't have something, if we have something, in all the cases we should accept everything as a resource. Otherwise we cannot be positive, we cannot explore our potential, we cannot create anything, we cannot do anything in our life. Only when we accept anything, any challenge as a resource, so then we can do something great or greater in our life. All things have been given to us for a purpose. Anything, even if there is something not available to us, then also it is for a purpose. An artist, especially artist, must feel that more intensely. It means we have to accept, we have to feel for not having that. It means not negatively, it must be felt positively. That is what he is recommending here. All that happens to us, including humiliations, our misfortunes, our embarrassments, sometimes we feel humiliated due to our failures. Then also we have to accept it. If we are humiliated by our circumstances, we should not take it as negative thing. It should be accepted as positive. If something greater has to come out, then we have to accept the humiliation in the positive note. Then only we can do the better things. We should not be satisfied with whatever is done by us, or we should not be felt inferior or humiliated. We should not pull ourselves from the uh, work we are doing to create the higher things, the highest position, highest creation. If we have to give in our life, only when we accept everything as uh, positive. Even misfortunes, sometimes if we don't have, if we are not able to get certain things, we feel that it is a misfortune. It is not a misfortune, it is to make us, push us to do something higher. Our embarrassments, sometimes we undergo embarrassments in our circumstances, in our life, that also must be accepted positively. Everything, he says that, is a raw material. When we accept everything as raw material, as a clay, we can shape the art. The beautiful things can come out only when we take, only when we take everything positively. Otherwise we cannot create anything great or greater. Okay. Okay, now I am going to discuss about the next question. That is, uh, Homer wrote in the Odyssey, the gods wrought and spun the skein of ruin for men, that there might be a song for those yet to be born. Here it talks about the statement, opinion of Homer in his work The Odyssey. The gods wrought means creation, and spun the skein of ruin for men. Skein means thread. Okay, ruin means destruction. God has created and he has destroyed the men. It means he is having two plans. One is creation and another one is destruction. Why he creates and destroys? That is his plan. Why that is there? That plan is there with him. For that there might be a song for those yet to be born. To invite the new life, he is discarding the older things. He is removing the older things. He is destroying the older things. He creates new things and he destroys older things. To invite the new life, he is going to discard the older one. So for this, interpretation of Borges is like this. Well, it is the same idea. In one of my poems, I say that humiliation, misfortune, discord were given to us so that we may transmute them, so that we may make from the miserable circumstance of our life eternal works, or works that aspire to be so. A verse of Goethe comes to mind. Allez nahe word fern, all that is near becomes far. In this verse, Goethe refers not only to the sunset but also to life. All things leave us. In my case, the visible world has moved away from my eyes, surely forever. But fortunately, it has been replaced by other things. My duty is to accept and, as far as possible, to enjoy those things. I still continue pretending that I am not blind. I still buy books. I still go on filling my house with books. He is giving his interpretation for this statement mentioned by Alifano. He has taken some words from his poems. In his poems, he has mentioned about humiliation, misfortune, discard. Why these things are there? We have to understand the meaning of these words. Humiliation means insult, misfortune, unfortunate thing. It means we feel that we are not having good luck with us to become successful in our life, to make our work accepted by others. Discard means disagreement. You do something that will be discarded, that will be refused, that will be rejected. People will not be satisfied with the work whatever you do. They will disagree with you. So that is the meaning of discard. Why all these things are there? Because if we have to create the higher standard thing, we have to undergo these situations: humiliation, misfortune, discard. Only when we go through these things, we can shape the art, we can shape the better things, we can create the better things, we can create the higher standard things. Okay. Otherwise we will not be able to create them, we will not be able to make them better. To change from primitive form to the highest standard form, we work on it. That is the meaning of transmute. Why these things are essential? Only to make the eternal things. Eternal things means anything which we create that should be available here forever. In future also it should be there. That is not going to become dead. It will not be thrown away by the people. Any work which is available forever, that is the kind of thing if we have to create. One must have to go through all sorts of miserable circumstance. Miserable circumstance means you don't wish for your enemy also. Such a kind of life, pathetic life, it is a pathetic life, pathetic condition. So you don't feel happy to wish for others. That is the meaning of miserable circumstance. When we go through miserable circumstance only, we can create eternal works. And he also talks about Gate. Gate is another poet. He has mentioned like this: Allez nahe word fern. What is the meaning of Allez nahe word fern? It means all that is near becomes far. Today we have something greater or something with us that is going to become lost for us. It will not be there with us, it will be gone, we will lose that. So that is the meaning of it. All that is near becomes far. It means today you have, tomorrow you will not have that. In this verse, Gate refers not only to the sunset, means from morning till evening there will be sun, he will be gone, means after evening, after sunset you will not see the sun. He also talks about life. Gate not only talks about the sunset, he also talks about the lives. Here he also mentions about all things leave us. It means anything we have today, definitely we are going to lose them one day. All things leave us. We don't know why do we lose, but all things leave us. That is the natural process. In the case of Borges, the visible world moved away from his eyes. It means he became blind. Till 55 he enjoyed his life like a normal person with vision. He was like a normal person. But after 55 he did not know that he would become blind, and unfortunately he became blind. After he became blind, he did not feel sorry for that, sad about it. He started to enjoy things. What he had to enjoy after 55, that is very important. He had imagination. He had the power of imagination. He started to enjoy that. With the power of his imagination, he started to give us the best works, eternal works, to all of us. Today, we have lots of innovative literature created by him only because he had the imagination power. With it, he started to give us the best things. That is how he started to enjoy his life. In addition to it, he also started to enjoy his life thinking that he is not blind. To pretend that he is not blind, what he did, he went on buying the books. Only to pretend that, only to behave that he was not blind, he went on purchasing the books and he went on filling his house with books. That is how Borges started to look at things positively. Even though he had no visible world, he after he became blind, he started to feel the positivity about it. We have to accept such kind of attitudes whenever we face even simple problems. To face even simple problems, we feel we are exhausted, disappointed, humiliated, misfortune. All types of curses come to our mind. We will curse anybody for that matter. So we should not feel like that. We should accept anything and we should go forward. That is the positivity we have to learn from Borges, from this interpretation. Okay, fine. Now Olifano is asking another question. What is that another question? There is a theme I would like us to speak about, the theme of books. Now he is asking something related to books, theme of books he wants to speak about. Now for that, Borges gives something very strange that we cannot expect, that we don't expect usually. Any question means only related to that question directly somebody gives answer, but it is very difficult to understand why he mentions like this, why he brings the idea of a strange dream to relate that to the question which is asked by Olifano. Well, last night, in fact, I had a very strange dream. Strange means something which is very rare, never happens daily. Okay, I dreamed of the burning of great library. It means in his dream the great library was burnt. It was attacked by flames, which I believe may have been the Library of Alexandria. Library of Alexandria, it was in Egypt. It was the largest library at that time, and many people were using that library for various kinds of research. That library was burnt. That he not really, but he saw that in his dream, with its countless volumes attacked by flames. All the books were attacked by flames means all the books were burnt into ashes. That kind of strange dream he had in his dream. Do you believe this dream may have some meaning? Maybe we can think that it is a kind of premonition. Maybe it is something related to the destruction. We are going to lose one day or the other day everything which we have today. Anything we have now, someday we will be losing them. All the things leave us. Something related to that he is saying, I believe. Alexandria, the Library of Alexandria is not available to us in the olden status, but he is mentioning that, he is mentioning about that library. Now when he came to talk about the books, uh, Olifano is taking to a different direction, especially uh, uh, mainly exactly to the point of books only he wants to speak. Now
he is asking another question. What is that another question related to books only is asking? Perhaps Borges, could it be that you owe your readers a book on the history of the book? Have you ever thought of writing such a book? Now he is asking the question related to a book on the history of the book that should be written by Borges, because Olifano believes Borges had such power, he had such knowledge, he had such wonderful ideas, thoughts about books to write, that he had that potential. That's why he is asking that question. Can you could it be that you owe your readers a book on the history of the book? Writing a book on the history of the book, that was the question asked by Olifano to Borges. Have you ever thought of writing such a book? When you ask that question, Borges says, dear me, no, but it is an excellent idea. Of course, it is an excellent idea to give a book on the history of the book. Today, we have books. Whatever we have today, for that, for everything, book is main thing. It is very important thing. If we did not have books with us, certainly we could not have seen the developed human world, civilization. In all respects, we are seeing lots of developments. Every development is based on something which was already done. Every person, if he wants to do, he has to do something newer for the older. He has to improve the older things. That is how we are able to enjoy each and everything with the higher facilities and standards. For that, the ideas have come from the books only. All the books are the storehouses of knowledge, experiences of different people of the past. That's why we are able to collect them, we are able to work on them, we are able to improve on great things. Now, for that he says, yes, to write a book on the history of the book, it is an excellent idea. History of the book. We read history to know only about the people who lived in the past. Anything and everything is having its history. Say for example, your automobile, that is also having its own history. Your mobile is having history. Your computer is having history. Everything will have history. Only by knowing the history of individual things we can develop further the same thing. Without knowing the history of anything, we cannot develop it. Similarly here, the history of the book is essential. To know further about the books, how it evolved, how in the olden days people were using things to store the knowledge, store the experiences. We know that in our ancient times, in our country, people were using the leaves. On those leaves they were writing the scripts. Even today we have certain scriptures available to us. They are stored in various places in the Department of Archaeology. If we want to know certain things of the past, of the ancient times, certainly we have to go through those leaves, which are the storehouses, which were the before the paper was invented. The people were using the leaves. Now we are able to write each and every piece of information, knowledge, experience on papers. But how it evolved to that extent, how we could develop the books, how we could invent the books, and that he wants to have a book. That's why he is asking a question related to write a book on the history of the book, how it is evolved. Borges says that it is an excellent idea. It would be wonderful to write a history of book. Yes, of course it is wonderful. I will keep it in my mind, although I don't know if an 83-year-old man can set such a project for himself. It is very difficult to believe that an 83-year-old man can write a book, because writing a book is not a simple matter. It is not a matter of 1 week, 1 month, or some 6 months, or 1 year. Sometimes to write any book on any subject, it has taken the people for years together. It has taken for years together. People have spent time to study on that subject to give a book. Any book, it is not going to be a simple outcome. If book means it should have some information that should be useful for all, and that book should become an eternal one. Otherwise, it will be lost from the memory of the people. Whether it was written or not, that won't be known to anybody in the future, unless if it doesn't contain the valuable information, valuable thoughts, valuable knowledge, experiences of the people who write that book. That's why when that question is asked to write a book on the history of the book, Borges says that it is very difficult to keep an idea, keep a project by a man of 83-year-old. Of course, I will keep it in my mind. He speaks positively. It means after 83, he himself doesn't know when he is going to die. That's why he mentions that. And even then, he says that I will keep it in my mind. That is the positivity of one individual with great personality. However, I now remember that Spengler, in his Decline of the West, predates my attempt. Predates means already he has attempted. He has mentioned about the same thing, same idea of about books. In the Decline of the West, Mr. Oswald Spengler has attempted to make comments about books. He also says that for in it he writes remarkable comments on books. Oswald Spengler has made some remarkable comments on books in his book Decline of the West. Okay, these are all the different opinions he gave about the question when Alifano asked about the book. Okay. Now let us move on to the next question, which will be asked by Alifano. Alifano is asking like this: in one of your essays, you quote the words of Bernard Shaw: "Every book worth being reread has been written by the Spirit." Every book worth being reread has been written by the Spirit. Bernard Shaw has stated this. What is the meaning of this statement? Every book, any book which is making the reader to read again and again, that kind of book is certainly written by the Spirit. Spirit means soul. Okay. So a soul has written that book. Only because of that, that makes the reader to read again and again. It makes the reader read it again and again. Okay. So what is the meaning of that? Why Borges has mentioned the words of Bernard Shaw in his essays? For that he says like this: yes, I completely concur with that notion. Since a book goes beyond its author's intention, the author's intention is a meager thing, a fallible thing. in a book, in every book, there is a need for something more, which is always mysterious. When we read an ancient book, it is as though we were reading all time that has passed from the day it was written to our present day. A book can be full of errors. We can reject its author's opinions, disagree with him or her, but the book always retains something sacred, something mortal, something magical which brings happiness. He is saying like this, I completely concur with that notion. Concur means agree. Borges agrees with the statement of Bernard Shaw, which he has quoted many times in his essays. He is going to agree because book goes beyond its author's intention. It is not going to be restricted only to a certain level in the sense author's intention is something, but the book goes beyond that. Author's intention in writing that book will be not great sometimes, but the book goes beyond that. The author might have thought of writing something simple about an object, about an idea, about some thoughts which he has felt. But when he goes on doing some research on that idea, thought, or object, that will take him to the higher level. His intention might not have been so much, but when he starts writing the book, it takes him beyond his intention only. That's why he agrees with the idea of every book worth being reread has been written by the Spirit. The author's intention is a meager thing, a fallible thing. Meager thing means simple, small, little, less. These are all the meanings which goes with the word meager. The author's intention is a meager thing, a very small one, petty one. It is not a big, great, something higher. But the author's intention when he starts writing the book goes beyond that. Fallible thing. Fallible things means it may contain some errors in it. That kind of intention he might be having. The author when he starts writing the book might be having that intention. Or his intention is not too much, but it takes him beyond his intention. In a book, in every book, there is a need for something more, which is always mysterious. We cannot understand. Mysterious means one thing which cannot be understood so easily. Maybe it is a secret, it is hidden, something it cannot be easily perceived, understood, realized, all these kinds. Okay, every book, in every book, there is a need for something more. It means the book has to be completed, the book has to be written, the book has to be given for the reader, means it needs something more. It cannot be restricted to only a meager thing, which can be higher, which can go beyond the level of intentions. That cannot be so easily understood. When we read an ancient book, it is as though we were reading all time that has passed from the day it was written to our present day. Ancient books always make us feel like this. When we start reading the ancient books, we feel that it is as if we are reading from the day it was written to our present day. They become something like eternal, something relevant to all time. That is the good thing about ancient books. A book can be full of errors. Maybe a book contains lots of errors. The writer might have done lots of mistakes in presenting the ideas. We can reject its author's intentions. Means we can reject its author's opinions. Whatever the opinions the author, the writer has given in his book, those ideas can be rejected. We don't agree with that. We refuse to accept that. But still, any book, even though it has to be rejected straight away, uh, that kind of book also will have something sacred. Some sacred means um, holy. It is very important. It has to be cherished. It has to be worshipped. It has to be nourished. It has to be carried forward. It has to be accepted. Something sacred will be there. Something mortal. Mortal means some or the other way, other day it is going to die, end. It will not be a long lasting one. Something magical. Magical means it is going to make us awe. We feel something great, something astonishing, wonderful things, because all these things will be given by the book. All these things are going to make us happy. They bring us happiness. That's why every book is worth rereading, worth of rereading, because they are going to be written by the spirit, the soul. This is how he is going to interpret about the statement of Bernard Shaw. He has mentioned, he has quoted many times in his essays. Okay. Now we are going to discuss about the next question, which is asked by Alifano to Borges. Borges, what is poetry? How would you define it? Alifano is asking a question which is related to poetry. He is asking him to define poetry. Borges gives his own explanation, definition, interpretation for poetry. So many people across the world have given their own definitions about poetry in different times across the world. One of the definitions to mention here, that is by William Wordsworth. Poetry means it is a spontaneous overflow of powerful feelings. Spontaneous overflow of powerful feelings is nothing but poetry. That is according to William Wordsworth. Now let us see what is the definition given by Borges. What is the interpretation, explanation given by Borges here? I believe that poetry is something so intimate, so essential, that it cannot be defined without oversimplifying it. It would be like attempting to define the color yellow, love, and the fall of leaves in the autumn. I believe that poetry is the aesthetic act. That poetry is not the poem, for the poem may be nothing more than a series of symbols. Poetry, I believe, is the poetic act that takes place when the poet writes it, when the reader reads it, and it always happens in a slightly different manner. When the poetic act takes place, it seems to me that we become aware of it. Poetry is a magical, mysterious, and unexplainable, although not incomprehensible event. If one does not feel the poetic event upon reading it, the poet has failed. Here, Borges says that I believe that poetry is something so intimate. Intimate means very close, closer to the heart. Of course, poetry is very close to the heart, because in every poetry there will be feelings and emotions. Otherwise, it cannot be a poetry. Any emotion or feeling which is from the heart only, that's why it is very close to the heart. It is very intimate, so essential. The poetry is very essential for our life. Otherwise, we will be like non-living things in the nature. We will become mechanical. We should have some feelings, emotions to live like animals, to live like humans. Otherwise, there will not be any meaning for our life. That's why poetry is very essential for us. That it cannot be defined without oversimplifying it. To explain, to define poetry, first we have to oversimplify it. Otherwise, it cannot be realized. It cannot be felt. What is poetry cannot be understood by us, cannot be realized by us. It would be like attempting to define the color yellow. If we try to explain, define